Hey guys, well I wanted to give you an aftermath video of the Buick Roadmaster station wagon. It was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sore today, but the Derby actually didn't go too terrible. I mean, obviously I didn't win or anything, I guess at this point. Otherwise I'd be saying congratulations, I won. But I put on a good show for the crowd, put on a really great full track shot. I can't wait for you guys to see the video, and hopefully you guys like that shot at least. But I did have some difficulties, and of course, knowing my luck, the back end did bend down on this car, only in the back corner, the one side really. The passenger side still stayed pretty straight, but I'll kind of explain what happened as we go through. So here's the aftermath of it. What happened was I have my heat run. There's 9 of us in the heat, and basically, I was putting on some good hits, also taking some pretty hard hits. And I was making some good hits, and then this back corner on the driver's rear started to bend down, and basically what happened was it bent down enough where it was skimming the deep mud. It was a good 8 inches of mud out there. It's amazing how much mud they get out there, but it was skimming the mud, and it was just enough that I wasn't able to get any traction and move, so my tires were just sitting in place, and there I was sitting, and eventually I just had to break my stick. So that was the heat. I ended up 5th in that heat, so it wasn't too terrible, but obviously I didn't make it to the feature. It kind of stinks. But basically at that point then I had some time and to get ready for a consolation heat. So what I did was my friend Jamie, he came over with his Bobcat and smashed the roof down, and then took the forks. His Bobcat had forks on it, and he'd picked the car up, maybe a good 5 feet or so, and just shook it. And just kept shaking it, bent the frame rails up to actually where it was sitting up in the back. And that allowed me to be able to get out for the consolation. So he bent that back, and then I had to cut the moonroof open and cut a little view window so you can kind of see the driver's seat and the steering wheel up there. So that way at least I could see out the back. And it was enough for the consolation. I fired it up and it went into reverse, and I was able to back away and then drive up for the consolation, no problems. That was running great, it seemed like. So we went out for the consolation heat. Again, took off pretty quick. Only was able to get a couple shots in, and took a good shot to the front. I stalled and flooded it and was in the middle of starting it, and took a good shot to the front end, and then all of a sudden the car wouldn't start, and I didn't seem like I was getting anything out of the starter. Well, I'll show you in a bit, just a second, what actually happened, but essentially I stalled out, couldn't get it restarted, and then I was out. I was 7th out of 9 cars in the consi, so that was kind of disappointing, but stuff happens. And but thankfully the transmission did not go out this year. The last 2 years I've blown apart a transmission. This one worked great. I went into gear all night, never had a bit of problem with it slipping. My only problem was I would put it in the neutral instead of reverse, so that's just my own thing, because what happened was the floor had started to bend and my guides for the shifter changed, so suddenly my everything was shifted up a notch. So I kept thinking I was in reverse and it was actually only in neutral. I had to go down 1 more step. So once I figured that out, obviously I was rolling. I only took like 3-5 seconds to figure out, but it all happened so quick. There's the front bumper. I took a weird shot right at the corner side of it, and what it did was it actually sheared the bolts right off. It had it bolted on. This is an aluminum bumper. It's still very solid and it's still perfectly straight. It's been in, came off the Thunderbird. It's been in about 4 or 5 derbies already, and still nice and straight. So the only downside is you have to bolt it on, and the bolts that actually, well, I'll tell you what we did was we took the plates, and we were really tight on space. So we bolted the one side down to the bumper and the other side to the car. And what happened was the side that actually bolted to the car, it sheared these bolts right off. There's a couple little nibs still sticking in. Sheared them right off, and it just fell right off, and it was, yeah, just disappointing. But ooh man, tire flat. Not really sure what happened there. I didn't think that tire was too bad. Basically, the other thing to note is just that this car was still rolling on all wheels when I put it on the trailer. We winched it on. But as you can see, this rim has definitely seen better days and is very folded at the moment. And I know for a fact that this wheel in particular was really bent and not tracking straight at all. And you can see it's actually, the whole rear end is shifted over. I don't know if maybe you can't see it on the video, but it's shifted over about 4 or 6 inches from where it's supposed to be to the front. There you go, you can see a good, both wheels are straight. And you see this one's tied up against the frame, that one's got about 4 inches, 5 inches or so between the rails of the trailer. So I'm hoping I can throw some air in this tire and be able to get this thing rolled off. Maybe just show you guys the inside of the car. Oh, another thing that happened in my heat was the strapping that I used to hold my tank. Never have once had an issue. Apparently I just took some really interesting shots, and it actually tore the strapping apart, and the gas tank floated over and ended up behind my driver's seat. So we had to re-strap that down for the console. It wasn't that hard of a fix, but thank you to the guys that were in the pits helping me work on it. Or actually, you guys did all the work. I was just standing around just trying to relax from the heat. But you guys did awesome. Thank you so much for your help. I certainly couldn't have done it without you. Basically, this whole back end of the car is moving forward. It's all kind of leaning forward from where it used to be. Here's the trunk area. It's all twisted up, mangled up. Some miscellaneous parts just tucked in there and whatnot. But the roof damage is all our own doing. We did that just to try to get the back end to sit up. As you can see, this side is still nice and straight. And actually, when I did my full track shot, you can see the marks from where I hit the guy right there. This still stayed nice and straight on this side. Apparently that side was just a little more rusted and weak and decided to fold down. This door is all ripped wide open. Got a big tear there as well. So, you know, it's beat up. The front end held together pretty good, other than I took a really hard hit to that corner by one of the guys. He did a good job. He made it to the feature out of the console, so, you know, kudos to him. But folded my frame rail up right here. Just hit it at the right angle and it torqued it and tweaked it and bent it up. Took out my radiator because that's all twisted up and broken now. Pretty impressive actually. But I took my all thread, bent that all up, so that's all hanging out. But I mean, considering how I had it bolted together, it's all still fairly straight at the front end, other than that frame rail's bent. But if you guys want to know what actually took me out, hopefully you guys can see it on the video. This camera, you know, sometimes isn't the greatest. But as you can see, up in here, my starter is broke. And what happened was the frame bent forward, hit the starter, and then knocked the casing and actually broke the cast outside to the housing that the starter is in. So it didn't actually break the bell housing, thankfully enough. I'm just pretty amazed at that, but really excited and happy that that happened. At least to the best of my knowledge at the moment, I don't see any physical damage to that. But it did break the casing. So obviously that's something that's going to need repaired and fixed. But as far as the transmission itself, still functioning really good. It was worth the money to build it, and it is good and strong, and I can't wait to run it in another car. Wow, my plug wires also got a little hot. Holy crap, I'm gonna have to replace those. Oh well. It's all fun. I mean, these you get these extra big boots on these things for a reason, and that's the reason why. So, gotta get some new plug wires. Everything else is, I mean, the fan is pushed up in there, but it still runs. Yeah, so that would explain why I got knocked out. The motor kind of flooded on me, stalled out, and then I was done. So there it is. That's what knocked me out, the starter. It's always something. You never know exactly what it is. But in this case, today it was the starter, and I mean last night it was the starter, and we get that changed out, then we'll have a good running engine again. Apparently this thing was still running a little rich, kind of getting flooded out on me, but when it was running, it was running really good. And I also had, for what it's worth, I did have a GoPro in. You can see the bracket. It since migrated quite a bit from where it was in the heat. So I took a really good hard hit and it kind of cocked it all sideways again, but that's alright. The video I think will still be cool. I'm I haven't actually watched it myself very much. I just kind of really quickly glanced through it to make sure that the footage came out and that there is footage. So I'll be editing that here and soon and getting those up. That video probably won't be up until the off season. But so there you go, guys, an aftermath of the Buick Wagon. And I'm sure you guys are probably asking, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna run this again? You're gonna fix it or whatever? I think at this point this car is done. The damage that has been done to it with the frame rails and with the rear end bending the way it did, I mean the actual frame above the rear end, and where the humps are moving, the body's lifting right up off the frame over here. I don't know if I even zoomed in on that. Hopefully you guys can see it, but the frame is, you know, the body's lifting right up off the frame. Actually, it ripped that mount right out. So it's all torn up, and with all the damage that's been done to it, I just honestly don't think it's worth fixing. I mean, if someone wants to make me an offer and take it off my hands as is, obviously I'm going to keep the motor and the gas tank. Motor, gas tank, and controls, and the bumper and tires. But as far as just the rolling chassis with the roll cage still in it, if anyone wants it, make me an offer, guys. You know, I know what scrap is going for, so I'm definitely not going to sell it for less than that, and I'm smart enough to know that. So if you guys are out there are more ambitious than me, or just want some body parts or whatever you're looking for, feel free to make me an offer. So there you go, aftermath. And about a week from now I'll be running the Escort out at Williams County Fair, so you might not even see this video until after I've already run that Escort, but definitely gonna have videos. Oh, and for anyone watching, man, I should just be done with this video already, but Fulton County, I did record everything. I had some people videotape for me, so I'm not sure exactly how well that turned out, but they videotaped the entire event, and we're going to try to get Williams County as well, so look forward to seeing those videos online. So until the next video, I'll talk to you later, guys.